This interview is being brought to you by BabyFightGear.com. Baby Fight Gear is dedicated to providing a single source for children's mixed martial arts. Inspired clothing, the softer side of tough sports. Our clothing is available in sizes newborn to toddler. Okay, guys, late night MMA radio rolls on. Let's bring in Neil. How's it going, man?
Hey, it's pretty good, other than this cold that I have.
Oh man, that sucks, bro. Let's just get started with this interview by talking about the interview process to get into the show.
The interview process was kind of rough. I mean, I tried for the show 3 times, so I actually made it through to even get the interview. The first time I tried out, I didn't have enough fights. Second time I tried out, they still want me to have more experience. And then finally, the third time I tried out, I ended up making it to the interview process. So before I went in there, just drank a couple of energy drinks as high as I could be. Just trying to tell them as much as I can in a short period of time.
Right now, there's a lot of stories on the internet about this rib injury you sustained prior to getting into the house. Just talk about that.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. I was going with two of the more experienced guys in the gym, and one of the guys ended up getting tired, so he sent an amateur in there to light spar with me. I guess the amateur's ego got to his head, and he ended up taking me with a hard shot to the rib. And before I got to the house, I was just sitting around the house icing and just, taking ibuprofen, trying to get the rib to feel a little bit better. So I haven't done anything leading up to that fight to get in the house, and wasn't sure how I was going to hold up in the fight. So that first fight was just kind of me figuring it out, see what I can take and what I can do with that rib injury.
That sucks, man. How pissed were you?
Yeah. I was pretty pissed when it happened, but at the same time, it was a lesson learned for me. Like, that close to a fight, I shouldn't be going to amateur to begin with. I should have been more professional and not even put myself in a position to get hurt.
Just talk about fighting at an empty Mandalay Bay to get into the house. How weird was that?
That was kind of weird because they had the lights playing as if it were a live event, but yet there were no fans there. There was no one to watch other than Dana White, the coach, and a couple of producers. And you look around the large Mandalay Bay, you see these posters of guys that fought in the UFC before, posters from prior events, and you're just like, wow, I'm fighting where these guys fought. And it kind of felt like a dream. It's the fact that there was no one there. Like, am I really here, or is this really happening? Like, it just felt weird.
Yeah, for sure, man. Okay, so just talk about your fight to get into the house. Walk the fans through it.
That first fight was a rough one. I mean, like I said, I was going there trying to fill it out, see what I can take as far as my rib goes. So I ended up getting taken down, getting mounted, giving up my back in that first round, and walking back to my corner after that first round. I was just like, man, I can either go home with nothing or leave it all on the line and said at least tried my hardest and come out with a win, or just go home with some pride. So I just fought as hard as I could with that rib injury, and sure enough, I was able to come out with a win.
You were picked fourth on the show by Team Carwin. How nervous or excited were you when they were making the picks?
I was super nervous. Before leaving home, I kind of thought that I was going to be picked by Roy Nelson just because he has a jiu-jitsu background, and I thought I can connect with him more because of that. But after meeting Roy Nelson and meeting his coaches that he brought with him, I was like, oh, God, please don't get picked by Roy Nelson. When Carwin finally picked me, I was just the lead of the Roy Nelson team.
Just talk to me a little bit. We've seen you working with Trevor Whitman on the show last week. Just talk about him as a coach, and who else really helped you out?
Trevor's amazing. Trevor, all the coaches, there's not one coach that helped me out more than the other. All the coaches had something else to bring to the table. Trevor had a tremendous amount of boxing experience that he was able to bring to the table. Lisa had some good wrestling stuff he was able to bring. Nate had some experiences in MMA fighting he was able to bring. Lauren was able to bring some stuff about strength conditioning to the table. Like, all the coaches had their own thing that they could bring to me. Like, even Shane, he wasn't necessarily worried about what we can do physically with him, but the mental approach that he took as far as make sure we're mentally prepared for our fights, that approach was even different. Like, all the coaches had something different to bring, and I loved it.
Just talk about the best part of being in the house and the worst part.
The best part of being in the house is just the fact that you know that you made it. You accomplished something. Like, during the interview process, there are thousands of guys that tried out and want to be in a position that you were in. So, making it to the house, it shows that you accomplished something. But being there for 7 weeks, those guys, as sick as they were, that was probably the worst. No, I just add, like, some of those guys are just terrible. You think they were raising the barn or something. Like, there are guys that were using chewing tobacco, and rather than using an empty bottle or just spitting outside, they would just grab a cup out of the cabinet and just use that to spit in. Like, these guys are disgusting.
Wow. Okay, man, just talk about your fight in the house last week. Pretty good fight, man. Just talk us through it.
Yeah, going into that fight, I didn't want anything to do on the ground with Diffley. He has a background in jiu-jitsu. He's been coaching for a while, so I knew I didn't want that fight to go to the ground at all. So the game plan is keep the fight standing, just work my range and pick him apart. And I started doing just that to the point that he pulled guard and got the fight to the ground. And at first, I thought I can just like hold a decent position, do some ground and pound, and try to win the fight that way. But then he goes for a knee bar that was pretty deep, and then switched it to a heel hook that was even deeper. So that was a pretty bad position I was in, and I just took
Yeah,
him out
for
on me,
sure.
knocked the tap.
How painful was it, man?
It was pretty bad. I think the worst part, like, it hurt at first. Once I looked down and seen that my ankle was pointing the opposite way, or my toes were pointing the opposite way, I was like, holy crap, that's deep. So I just gave it a final grunt and tried kicking out of it, and sure enough, I get out.
Got the win. I'm sure it was a real exciting experience. Your teammates'
Yeah.
reaction, just talk about it.
Teammates are pretty excited for me. A lot of them felt like I was going to fight to begin with. Some of them got nervous when they see me in a heel position, but I think a lot of my teammates kind of thought that I was going to win that fight either way.
Just talk about who you spent the most time with in the house.
One of the guys that spent the most time in the house is Sam Alvey. I mean, he was just one of the most humble guys there. He wasn't really telling us about, like, the first week they should get there, a lot of guys were doing a lot of name dropping. They're all pumping their chests up about guys they fought, guys they trained with. And with Sam, it was just more so him trying to enjoy everything day by day. He wasn't worried about who he fought prior, what he's going to do with his next opponent. He's just enjoying every moment of being in the house. He was enjoying the training. He was enjoying meeting new people. He was enjoying everything. And a lot of the other guys just let their egos get to them to the point they're just pumping their chests up way too much.
What did you do in the house when you weren't training?
For the first 3 weeks, I guess a lot of guys forgot the first few weeks I was in the house. A lot of guys forgot that I was even there. I mean, I was just trying to nurse that rib injury. So I would just literally take a bag of ice and go back to my room and just like put it on my rib and just try resting and icing my rib and not letting anyone else see. So most guys thought I was sleeping, but in reality I was just icing my rib and trying to keep anyone else from finding out.
So no one in the house knew about this injury, or did you let anyone in on it?
Yeah, and the first week, the coaches came out and they asked us about it. They're like, hey, you guys have anything that you want to talk about, any injuries, anything that's nagging, and just kind of keep it inside the room. So I let the coach know that what was going on, so they kept me from doing any live sparring or wrestling practices and kind of had me work off to the side so none of my teammates could find out that I was injured.
Oh, that's very cool, man. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I appreciate this. Anything you'd like to promote, such as your Twitter or Facebook?
No, this is my Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Neil Magny, and same thing on Facebook. Just follow me, just add me as Neil Magny. I mean, I'm just excited for the finale. Just waiting for the next fight.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the show's off to a kick-ass start, man. Can't wait to see the next episode. And thanks for doing this, man.
Oh, cool, no problem. Thank you.